morning, freshmen. I hope that you guys had an awesome long weekend and that you are doing really well. And I hope you're enjoying researching your Greek god. It's always kind of fun to learn about this kind of stuff. I enjoy doing research on these kinds of things and learning about them. So I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying that as well. There's a couple things that I want to talk about after looking at your guys' note-taking worksheet and your source evaluations. There's a couple things I want you guys to go back and look at. If they have been submitted and there's something that I'm talking about that I want you to kind of look at again, all you have to do is unsubmit and resubmit. You won't have a late grade. There won't be anything like that. But I want to make sure that you guys are doing the things that I'm asking you to do, and that I'm being clear about that. Okay. So I did ask you guys to have 3 sources. A couple of you guys did not have 3 full sources, but I do want you to have 3 sources, even if it's just for 1 or 2 pieces of information off of that 3rd source. I do want you to have that 3rd source because you might find something interesting on there. It also gives you practice on creating your works cited page entries, figuring out what your in-text citation would be, formatting everything, and doing that little bit of extra research. So if you only had 2 sources, I want you to find that 3rd source. Along with that, you guys, on your source evaluation sheets, I asked you to do a source evaluation sheet for all 3 of your sources. Some of you guys did do that, but some of you did it for just one of the sources. So I want you to go back and fill that out for the other 2 sources that you have or that you used for your research. Okay, so you should have 3 of those filled out. What people did essentially was just copy it down below and just fill it out for the next source, and copy it down below and fill it out for the next source, and that seemed to work really well. So I want you to go back if you only did 1, and I want you to do the 2 other ones as well, please. And then looking at your note-taking graphic organizer, there was a couple of things that I want to point out to you guys. Some of you did a really awesome job with this. You have your stuff at the top, which is great. You have that source type, you have the works cited entry, and you have your in-text citation. That's wonderful. That's what I asked you guys to do. Down below is where there was a little bit of confusion about a couple of things, okay? So if you did put all your stuff in there, you have a direct quote, whatever it is, and then you have your in-text citation at the end. That's what I asked for. So if you did that, that's great. But there were a couple places, even in the people that were doing really well with like putting their in-text citation, I want you to go back and check this, because in one box I can see where you put direct quote, and then you have the direct quote, and then you have your in-text citation. But then maybe in the next box or the next couple of box, you don't have your thing saying whether it's a direct quote, a summary, or a paraphrase. And remember the difference. Direct quote is word for word in quotation marks, everything exactly the same. Summary is taking out just the important information. So if you were pulling like a name or something like that, that might be a summary. Okay. And then paraphrasing and putting it into your own words. And then paraphrasing is keeping it about the same length, equal length, and putting it into your own words. So you want to make sure that you're putting it in your own words really well. But I want you guys to tell me, is it a summary? Is it a paraphrase? Is it a direct quote? You just have to show me some way on each one of those boxes, each piece of information that you're putting out there. Okay. Along with that though, you guys, I want your in-text citation. So if all of the stuff in the box is from the same source, you can just do one down at the bottom, right? But if you're switching back and forth, or if you have a direct quote, I want you to put in there your in-text citation every single time. Okay, the in-text citations, you guys did pretty well on these. Remember, the period always goes at the end. And remember, if you have an author, it's going to be that author in parentheses. I'll show you guys in a sec. But if you don't have an author, you use the first piece of information in the works cited page. Because remember, when I'm reading your paper, whoever's reading your paper, that in-text citation will say, okay, hey, this came from somewhere else. Look at the works cited page. So I'll look at the works cited page and whatever's in that in-text citation. Okay, so here, if I have Smith, I'm going to go to your works cited page and I'm going to look for Smith at the beginning. Okay, if it's Aphrodite, I'm going to go to your works cited page and look for Aphrodite. Okay, so whatever your first piece of information on your works cited page is what you'll use for your in-text citation. So if it's an author, you'll use Smith. It'll be in parentheses with the period at the end. If it's the title, okay, if it's the title of the web page, you have parentheses, quotation marks, the title. If it's a shorter title, that's okay. Like if it was, I can't remember what you had, but it was Aphrodite, like goddess of love and luck or something like that. Whatever that was. You can shorten it to Aphrodite as long as that first word on there is the same as what you have here. Okay, so you have parentheses, quotation marks, the title, and then period at the end. The period always goes at the end. Okay, so that's what we're going to be. I want you guys to go back and just double check your stuff and make sure that you have that done correctly on there, because in each one of those boxes you should have an in-text citation, at least one. You should be telling me whether it's a direct quote or a summary or paraphrase. Okay, so with your note-taking graphic organizer, that's what I'm looking at. Source evaluation, make sure you have it for all three of your sources. Okay, so that brings me to what we're going to be doing now. Since you've taken all the notes, since you've done all of the research, now we're going to put it into a format where you can share it. Okay, the first thing I want you guys to do, and we'll come back to, remember I told you guys we might be doing a resume and a presentation. We'll come back to that later, but what I want you guys to do is create a slideshow for me of PowerPoint in Google Slides. Okay, you can make it look pretty much however you want. But if you go back to your assignment sheet from last week for this whole assignment, I want you guys to do that, because it says you will be using all of your research to create a Google slideshow to share your information and teach the class. Your slideshow should have all of the following slides in this order, so you have them laid out exactly the order that I want them to be in. So make sure you're following that order. Make sure you have the slides titled accordingly. If you have to have more than one slide for one of the things, one of the titles, you would just say like background information continued, okay, on the next slide. Then you have to have at least one image per slide, okay? That's important. You have to have at least that one image per slide, because a slideshow without pictures is really, really boring, and nobody wants that. We want to see a slideshow with pictures, okay? So give that to me. Make sure you have the images in there, and at least one in-text citation on each slide. If all of the information is from the same source, do one in-text citation down at the bottom. If bullet points, make sure you're doing bullet points. You guys, please do not give me a paragraph of information on there. That's not effective presentation techniques. I want those good, solid bullet points with talking points. Yes, you have to put the information in there, but you don't want to have a big chunk of text, because then you as a presenter would just be sitting there reading it, right? And your audience is going to get stuck on the words. They want something visual. So have the picture, have your bullet points. But if your bullet points are from different sources, you would have to do an in-text citation with each bullet point. Okay? So, you guys are working on that for the moment. I'm going to make that due for you guys on Monday, because you already have the information, right? You already have all of the stuff. You already have it all typed in that that note-taking graphic organizer. So all you have to do now is to put that information that's in that box. Make sure you have your in-text citations with it. All you have to do then is put it into a slideshow format. Make sure you add your pictures to it, and we'll go from there. Okay, so that's going to be due on Monday. I will put out a question for you guys today, so you can ask any questions that you have about this. I do want to remind you guys that you have that phone number on my my stream on this classroom. If you have any questions, you can also use that to contact me. You can set up a time to call me and talk to me over the phone if you need to. The other thing, you guys, is that I want to, tomorrow, I'm going to put a question out for you guys to tell me your final, what are you going to do for your project, for your independent book project? Okay, I said that earlier this week. I want the final tomorrow, so be thinking about that so you can tell me tomorrow, okay? I hope that you guys are doing well. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I miss seeing your faces. I miss being in class with you. Yeah. So if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good day.